right, so originally this is what was causing the issue. Customer had this regulator on here, the mini regulators, and every time he made a pull, the fuel pressure would drop. It would go down to like from 39 down to like 25, 24 psi, and I already knew that wasn't going to work, and I wasn't going to chance continuing with this to damage anything. So we instantly stopped immediately when I saw that. He had a secondary regulator in the car, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot, try it out for testing purposes. And sure enough, you know, just by swapping the regulator out, all his fuel pressure came back in. Instead of dropping to 25, it was actually building up to 50, 55, almost to 60 on a quick pull. So the fuel pressure makes a difference. The regulator makes a difference. If you want the health of your motor, you have to make sure you have a good regulator. Usually, I don't run either of these, most cars, but I would get like a full-size regulator. Full-size regulator, there's a lot of good ones on the market. A lot of guys are running the Aeromotive, just fine, that's good. A lot of guys are running the Weldon, just fine, that's good. And there's some other ones that work out there too, but I know those two actually for me work pretty flawlessly. So remember, get yourself a good regulator, because you do not want to have fuel pressure problems. Fuel pressure problems hurts motors, hurts gaskets, damage some things up when you don't have the right amount of fuel pressure in your car. So customers coming in for flex fuel, so we figure, you know, car did good on 93, so we're just gonna swap it over to E. So we're just gonna test it and see what the level's out at before I put it in there. It's always good to just double check your fuel, because you just never know. Every E85 station is different from the next. This is something so simple that can be done in like matter of like 5-10 minutes, and you don't want to guess it. You don't want to chance it. You don't want to put your engine or your setup at risk without checking this over first. Always know your ethanol content. That's the health of your motor, of things staying together. And then this one just tested out at about 80%. I'd probably say that's about like 79, 78, but it tested out good. So just in case y'all are unsure, always test your E85, because the test won't lie. And I would just, for the health of your setup, it's a no-brainer. it's running healthy. It sounds healthy. It won't let me get over a certain amount of boost. I try to get it a little bit more, and it wouldn't let me. Your ethanol gauge is off. So the flex map works off of the ethanol gauge. So at a certain percentage ethanol gauge on the gauge, and that's where it knows when it's converting from 93 to 85. I tested it on my E85 tube tester. Tested at 80%. You said you tested before at 80%. Yours right now is tested at like 50 something. I know the fuel is good because said we tested it beforehand. And that's also what's holding the power back, I think, a little bit. Because it thinks it's in that transition between 93 and E85. I don't want to force it to make the power because of that issue. So I think that needs to be looked at, needs to be fixed. That's the first thing. Second thing is your MyVec. Before I mentioned how your MyVec was sticking. It's still sticking, but it's not like I'm only seeing it like down low, idle, and then kind of like that transition, the transition up here. And as soon as I floor it full throttle, I see it unstick, and then it takes off. But still, I don't like it to stick at all. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I'm rolling, and even before I whack the throttle, I don't want it even to go from stick to unstick, or unstick to stick. And I want it to be like operating how it needs to be. This way I can pick up the power where I need it to be. Those two things I feel like is holding it back. Now it could be, like I said, that ethanol sensor reading off. It could be that, or maybe the boost controller is bad. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not too sure on that. But I definitely know for sure that sensor is not reading correct. But I also realized when you had when I fired the car up with the return line off, your ethanol reading it jumped up. So do you have your E85 ethanol sensor on your feed line? I think because that's the only way it was reading. It was reading with the return line off. So with these cars, you never want to like affect the flow of the feed to the rail. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to affect the flow of the pressure, or if you get on it and the fuel has to pass through the ethanol sensor, and then I see you have another E85, you have another filter before the rail. So you have filters in the trunk, in the tank. You have filters in the tank that's connected to the pumps, and then it gets sucked up and it's passing through the ethanol E85 sensor. And then after that, it's passing through this another filter, and then it hits the rail. So like you don't want to affect the fuel pressure of how it needs to go up. So usually you'll hook up your E85 sensor on the return line. On the return line is what you need to hook your sensor up to, because the pressure is not going to matter too much. As long as it's able to release this pressure and it doesn't like back up. But usually you'll run like 6 AN line, and you'll hook up your E85 flex sensor on the return line, not on the feed line. So I think that's also needs to be fixed and corrected. But besides that, like, this car sounds so healthy. It sounds really healthy. When he fixed that the flex sensor, where he put it in the right place, the whole car, like when I ripped on it, it went way rich the first pull, way rich. So as I started ironing it out, cleaning it up, like I could start seeing like it's pulling clean, it's pulling a lot cleaner. I got to get it right to the AFR where I wanted to, and it's just like 11.6, 11.4 the whole way, just ripping all the way straight through. Before, towards top, the first one, I started going with the 10s. I let out, made some fuel adjustments, and then we ran into that little fueling problem we had going on. But besides that, like, I think it's pretty solid now. You know what I'm saying? It definitely feels very healthy. Rip on it, sounds really, really clean. And it still has so much more left in it. Like, that's. I didn't really get aggressive with it. So yeah, you got a lot more left in it. So if you ever do like a built block, you do a full build motor, like easily this car would 600 plus, 650, you know, and then I kept the torque soft because it's stock block.
Yeah.
I always try to keep it for any stock block XIU on flex. I try to keep the torque right at that 400 mark. You know what I'm saying? So a little off bit. That's because you start doing back-to-back pulls. You start getting hot. But like it's right at that 400 torque mark because I don't want to be above the limits. So where the rods get out, but it's gonna feel strong up top. So like you control how the power is coming in, so it don't make too much, and then let it hang out all the way up top, and let the power just send it up towards the top. And super good now. Like I just test out drivability, test out a few wide open pulls. Like I just wanted to verify like, these two. I wanted to verify like hitting the AFR where I wanted it. So I know you're coming from far, so I don't want to just get it kind of somewhat near ballpark. I wanted to get it like right on point. All right, so tell me, how does the car feel now that we're done tuning?
Oh shoot, man, car is great, feels great. Not like before, everything's good.
So man, when we went for that test drive, how did it feel?
Ooh, damn, it's different car, man. Everything feels fucking great, man. Only that's man. Performance destination, man.
Yo, I appreciate that.
Anything like tune for the Evo and everything, it's the guy.
Yo, I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
So how does it feel now on this new tune versus your old tune?
Woo! Oh my god, the last tune, man, it's crap. This tune, a bum.
Yo, I appreciate that, man.
No problem,
Thank you very much, man.
No problem, man.
This thing was ripping, man.
Yep, it is.
Garrett turbo.
Yep.
Flex setup.
It is.
It's healthy. This is Desmond from Performance Destination. Customer came back with his EvoX. We just tuned him last week. He came back again this week. He had a failing MyVec system. We did a Magnus delete on it, and we actually fixed his ethanol sensor because before his ethanol sensor was reading 50% ethanol, and it was holding the map back, holding the tune, fuel, timing, boost. It was holding everything back because it thought it was at 50% ethanol. In reality, it was nearly 80%. So that right there was cutting his power. He's up on ethanol percentage right where he needs to be, and we have his MyVec fixed, and the car started making way more power than where he was before. We finished him right at 503, 389. Kept the torque low because I wanted to keep it safe. Stock block. Wasn't really trying to push it for anything. He just wanted something fun to play with. He doesn't race like that, so he just wanted something just to make power that feels good. So just slowing it down low, so just to keep it safe, and then speeding it up all the way up top, so he can make the 500 horsepower mark that he wanted. We went on test drive and he was all happy. If you would like to work with me, just like he worked with me, reach me at 941-268-7493, or you can catch me on all platforms of social media at Performance Destination. Let me help you so we can make some power for you as well.